Thank you for joining us wherever you are. This podcast episode is brought to you by the Old Ways Actual Play team. This actual play uses the RuneQuest rules by Chaosium Incorporated. This actual play is performed by adults and in an adult setting. Strong language, mature scenes, and rune magics are on the way. As this is our Glorantha, we will remind listeners that it may vary from the one you already know and love. And now, on to the show. Thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Old Ways Podcast. I am your storyteller, Michael Diamond. My pronouns are he, him, and we are back with another episode of 6 Seasons in Sartar, our RuneQuest campaign as played by the Old Ways Podcast. And so I'd like to thank you for joining us and thank you for listening to the show. We greatly appreciate those listening ears. We would love for you to share the show with someone who's never heard it before. We're really enjoying playing RuneQuest and some of the other tales that we're playing as well. And what the show can use, even if you can't spare us a single dollar ever, shares are absolutely free. So please do that. If you are inclined to potentially support the show and want to see more RuneQuest on the show, a great way to do so is visiting our Patreon page at patreon.com/theoldwayspodcast. And now I'm going to begin with cast introductions to my right.
Hi, everybody. I'm Heather, Valley Girl Heather, pronouns of she, her, and I am playing Lysana of Cliffshield, the apprentice healer and midwife of the Heraborn, follower of the Blessed Earth Mother, Analda, and I am currently snuggled up next to a very strong, handsome man.
Yeah, more on that soon. Next to Lysana.
Hi, this is Morgan, and I play Alara of Hillbase Stead, and both our pronouns are she, her, and Alara worships the great goddess of the earthquake, Marangor. And right now, she is not snuggled up next to anybody except maybe Finn, who's on the left side.
Fair enough. And at the end of the table.
This is Jake. I'm playing Vargas, son of Gordanger, follower of Orlanth. And things are getting a little hot tonight.
It's a good thing, too, because most of you have been in the river very recently. Mm-hmm. And last but most certainly not least, the only man not wet.
Hi, this is James, and I'll be playing Finn the Fisherman, who, ironically, was the only one who didn't take a dip, and therefore had no reason to take his clothes off. I don't know if I was lucky or not.
That's a great question. Perhaps it is simply your chosen patron playing another one of their tricks on you. So we're going to part the veil tonight and look in on the cold and lightly snowy mountainside. Our Heraborn have been tasked with locating something precious and very important. And they're aware that that potential preciousness is far off at a well. Grothang's well. It sits somewhere in the slopes of the Crag Radius, this challenging mountainous terrain that they've found. When we last left them, several of them had unfortunately been unable to cross a watery stream that was maybe a little deeper than they had expected. And they had, gotten very, very wet. In doing so, they needed to dry off. And so they have huddled around a campfire for warmth. And as the fire blazes even hotter, some of their clothes are beginning to dry. And so what I'll ask is, are any of you deciding to stay up and keep watch? And if so, who and how?
Well, I'm already by the fire, sitting there, so I can take first watch.
Finn agrees with a small and gentle snore.
I'm shocked.
I'll take last watch.
I guess I get to be in the middle.
So with Alara taking the first watch, then this will give an opportunity then for Vargas and for Lysana to get some rest or whatever they find appropriate before getting woken up. There are enough blankets for everyone, luckily. And there are furs to help hold in whatever heat the bodies generate. It's a really important thing, too, because up here in the cold, with nothing but the fur and the blankets to shield you from the wet weather and the winds that are beginning to come down from the mountains, folks are going to shiver. It's sort of just not up for debate. But what I would like is for all of my Hairborn to give me a Constitution roll ×5 and tell me what they get. Alara, I'm going to give you a 20% bonus to this roll.
That is a 4 under 70.
Oh, okay. So that is definitely a critical. Very good. Alara?
Well, since you gave me a 20% bonus on this, thank you very much, sir. 61 out of 100.
Great. Thank you. Vargast.
That's 35 under 70.
Okay. Very good. Normally in Call of Cthulhu, that would be a hard success, but hard successes don't exist here. And Finn.
40 under 55.
Okay. So let me get back to the critical. Alara, while you're taking watch, you feel a rush of warmth from inside your body. And on the air, and some of the way the wind blows in here, you hear a tune that your mother would hum to you when you were young. You hear and feel the rocks vibrate with this same sort of song. And you don't feel the cold anymore. You feel your skin drying. Not just the cold, clammy, post-lake water swim kind of feeling, but you genuinely feel the warmth of your body beginning to do what it's supposed to do.
When I started were my clothes dry enough for me to put on?
No.
Okay, so I would have been walking butt-ass naked.
If you were actually doing rounds, like physical rounds, yeah, you'd be in the buff out here, birthday suit and all.
Yeah, I'm naked. Yeah.
Yeah, and Finn is asleep. Vargas is likely dozing, if not preparing himself to get to sleep, knowing that his watch will come up at some point. For the critical, there is something keeping you warm, Lysana, but it is not a song hummed by your mother on the wind. It is certainly not the fire per se, although that is helping. You feel an intense sort of flush feeling all over your skin. And it begins to dawn on you that you are there as far away from the stead as you have ever been. There are the least amount of potential prying eyes that who could potentially judge you or consider to judge you. Your mother is far, and there is someone who you are sharing some very close space with. And you sort of begin to feel the rush of all these very intense feelings. It's idyllic, really, like the entire setting here. If it were not for the fact that you are, still trying to dry off and your clothes are hanging, like this would be a picturesque setting to have, right?
Yeah.
Snowy mountainside, river, etc. But you feel the earth fortify you, and some of those very distinct parts of your soul sort of awaken, and they're charged up.
I feel the almost
Almost. Okay. You pass your roll, though. That's just half of it. So what I'm going to ask, provided there are no other narrative desires. What I'm going to ask Alara to do is make a few rolls for me. One is going to be listen or scan. So you have your choice here. One you think Alara would be more focused on.
Well, with it being dark out, I'll probably be more apt to listen. I mean, my score is the same in both, but we'll go with listen for storytelling purposes. Oh, and she got a 38 out of 40.
Okay. So for the listen roll, you do wander a little bit away from the directness of camp. Not too far because you need the warmth of the fire itself. But you also know that moving your body will help warm it. The blood flow itself is important. And you probably wouldn't think of it as blood flow. You might think of it more as really like the fires that the mother goddess you worship flow through you. And they need to move. And so that helps. It helps enormously for you to get warm over the next couple of hours. Your listen rolls do reveal a few things. There are very little in the way of animal life that seems to be moving around here at night. A few things. Owls, various small cats. But you do hear the soft padding of very purposeful feet. Definitely an animal.
Okay. Is it getting closer to us, or is it just circling us? What am I hearing?
You think it's circling, but it's only doing a single arc. Like it seems to be circling the space where you are patrolling. So like when you move back and forth in a certain area, it seems to stick to that area. When you take the other arc or the other portion of the campsite, it focuses there as well.
So does it feel like I'm being hunted?
No, it feels like you're being watched.
Oh. I will turn and face the way where I hear the sound coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And I will kind of crouch down in a hopefully non-threatening manner and just kind of look out to see what I can see.
Okay. So go ahead and give me a scan roll. You're going to be at a slight penalty to this because it's night. And although there is a moon overhead, it is not powerful enough to remove the penalty. So we'll say that you have a 10% penalty to this roll. And remember, should you so choose, you could use Runic Inspiration to make that happen.
I get a 71 out of my regular 40, but the 10% penalty would put me at a 30.
Yep.
Yeah, so I totally failed that roll.
So for you, Alara, the Hand of Fate is going to step in and make it a success.
Thank you, Patreon.
And so what you see are two large yellow eyes watching you from one of the evergreen trees nearby. They sit about 3 or so feet off the ground.
Oh.
They're intently staring at you.
I look back. How far away are they from me?
Probably about 20 meters or so.
I don't want to call out to it because 60 feet's kind of far. So I will start backing up towards the campsite, towards the fire again. And when I get to Finn, I will poke him with my finger in the side.
This is about an hour or so into your overall rest period. This also is about an hour or so into the other two who are trying to either rest or to be determined.
What's going on?
Hey,
What?
We have company.
No, they make that sound all the time. I've been waiting for this for a while. They're gonna.
Oh my gosh, Finn.
Oh, you mean over there? Oh, okay.
I kind of like raise my arm. Just come on. Let them sleep, play patty cake. I don't know. Whatever they're doing. It can exist in Glorantha. I don't even want to hear it. Patty cake can exist.
Yep. Our Glorantha certainly varies, including patty cake.
Finn climbs up out of the well of sleep and only a quarter awake follows. Follows Alara.
It doesn't take the two of you very long, but you get to probably about 15, maybe 20 meters from the camp itself. And you see two somewhat familiar eyes as you looked very closely at them not long ago, Finn. When you join Alara, these eyes begin to move. They begin to move closer towards the camp.
So I recognize them pretty right off.
Mm-hmm.
I crouch down and pull Alara down as well. Make a little pss, 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 pss.
It comes closer.
Hello, friend. Come here. Finn rummages through one of his pouches till he finds a piece of dried fish. Holds it out.
It does something very interesting. Something you're not expecting, but also something amazingly intriguing. It passes you by and goes directly for Alara. Now, shadow cats are big. Very big by comparison. So it's, this specific shadow cat is probably about 3 feet tall.
Finn grins and hands the dried fish to Alara. Here.
Is this the male cat that we had helped earlier?
Yep. It tries to find a cuddle spot in you.
Right between.
Oh, yeah. It's friendly. And furred.
I pet it. Yeah, it's a friendly shadow cat. Yeah. It's very soft. Very soft.
Very.
And I hand him the fish. I try to feed him the fish.
Mm-hmm. He eats it.
What are you doing here? You're a long way from home.
It growls and murmurs at you. If you had beast speech, you could speak back to it, but since you don't,
I do not have beast speech.
So I'm just going to ask, how are you resting, Lysana? Vargas, did you pass out? Or did you find something else to do?
Oh, yeah, I passed out.
I probably snuggled in, put my hand across and laid my head in the nook of his neck and then closed my eyes and snuggled close and then heard him snoring.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Locked again. Oh, well, I might as well get some rest.
You get some rest. So, Alara, Finn, this shadow cat doesn't seem to want to get too terribly close to the fire.
If he followed you this far, he's probably going to keep following you. You have a friend.
I have a friend. Yeah, wonderful. I run my hand across the back of the shadow cat. Am I able to do that?
You see it. You see it turn, and turns and looks at you. It looks a little quizzical.
I pet him again.
It regards you for a moment, and then you hear it meow and kind of make this strange clicking sound with its mouth.
Does he want to eat me now? I hold my hand out to him. See what he does?
He puts his paw in your hand.
I run my other hand on top of it.
Certainly soft fur. You also notice that this shadow cat has a definite set of claws, if necessary, to get all sorts of uncomfortably busy on people. They do retract.
Are you going to come with us on our adventure?
Does exactly what cats always do, which is it looks at you.
That figures.
It kind of stares at you, but doesn't give you an answer.
Yeah, at that point, I'll stand up, and Finn, I think we'll be okay if you wanted to go and snuggle up to Lysana and Vargas.
Oh, God. I'd rather sleep out here with the cat.
The cat looks at you.
I'll let them have a few moments and then I'll head back to sleep.
So, Finn, you're not fully back to camp yet, and you can already hear Vargas snoring?
Finn laughs. Finn chuckles himself off to sleep as he lays down.
So, the changes in shift go fairly easy. Lysana's next. By the time Lysana takes her shift, Alara, your clothes are dry. Same for you, Lysana, when you wake and decide to take your part in all this. It does give you an extra layer, which helps keep you warm.
Yes.
And then eventually you have to wake Vargas.
I do, don't I?
Yeah, you do.
I will go over to the probably deep in sleep and slumbering Vargas. I consider my options in terms of waking him up. And choose the lesser of the evils. I kick him at the bottom of his feet a couple of times. Hey, your turn.
Huh? Oh, right.
It's your turn.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Have fun. No, I won't be.
What?
Nothing. Good night. And I'll wander over to a corner of the fire and make sure I stick my beautifully rounded, gifted ass up against it so it's in beautiful view. And not look at him.
Sure. It's probably well deserved.
A little shake. You could have had this. And we'll stretch out and semi-seductively like a cat and find myself a nice comfortable spot and then close my eyes and try to get some rest.
It doesn't take you terribly long, Vargas, to see that there's something else near camp. There's a shadow cat near camp hanging out by a tree. It's probably about 15 or maybe 20 feet from the edge of the firelight. But by the time you're up 2 shifts, so 6, maybe 2.5, maybe 5 total hours have passed, probably 2.5 hour shifts per. It's sleeping fairly close to where Alara is, but it's definitely there.
But it's just sleeping, right?
Yeah, and you'd know you'd have been told since you were young that shadow cats are rarely aggressive towards Haraborn. Or really any Orlanthi worshipping people, because of the connection between shadow cats to Yinkin and Yinkin's connection to Orlanth. And so, in general, provided you don't make one mad, they don't bother you. And in some circumstances, it's not uncommon for shadow cats to make a pact or some type of an agreement to follow a human. Sometimes they're found in new houses. Like someone will build a house, and before they can fully live in it, the shadow cat will take up residence in the house and sort of bond with that family.
Okay, well, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to leave it alone. I'll keep one eye on it, but I think it'll be okay. I think, yeah.
A couple hours pass, and dawn begins to creep closer and closer to the veil. I would like you to make a listen or scan roll, whichever is higher or your preference. And then, of course, remember that you can use runic inspiration for this if you so choose. You just have to tell me how you're going to do it.
Yeah, I'm going to listen to the currents of the air.
Okay. In an attempt to draw some inspiration during your time being a sentry.
Yes.
Okay, that seems fair. Go ahead and roll your air rune.
That's 2490.
Here. 24, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So that's a success. So for runic inspiration, you're going to add 20% to your roll.
Big money, big money. That's 19 under 60.
Oh, excellent. It doesn't come as a surprise to you, not really. It's concerning, but given your position, you're able to hear what sounds like footsteps coming up from the veil. Like someone is trotting a path up. Actually, not someone. Several people.
From the veil behind us or ahead of us?
Yeah, well, no. I mean, to give you an idea, you have climbed up part of Crag Radius. And so they are coming from below you for certain. And what you are hearing is soft boot steps. So people trying to be quiet, but failing at it. At least you're able to pick them out. They're coming up probably some of the same pathways you did. And the whole purpose of you going to the well is you're going to meet the deer folk, right? To warn them that the Lunars are on their trail and they're hunting them. And what you choose to do with that information, I'll let you decide.
Okay. Do I have any idea how far away they might be?
It's hard to say. They're not close, like imminent, but it could be 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If they keep going up this way, they're going to intersect with us. Now, you don't know whether or not the campfire and the smoke that came from it or is coming from it is what is leading them here. But if it is a lunar scout party, you probably you have two choices. You can either move or you can prepare to fight them.
I think I want to, I'm going to get everybody up. We're going to move because we always run the risk if we fight that we may die and our mission will be a failure. Or even if we don't die, it could be a failure because of a fight. And I think the mission is more important.
You begin rousing people. How are you doing so? By touch?
Yes.
Y'all get touched.
Mm-hmm.
Finn, you enjoy it the most?
Well, naturally.
I'm kidding.
What's going on?
Footsteps behind us.
Do you finally come around?
Huh? What? No, there's footsteps behind us.
What do you mean? Footsteps.
Finn quickly gets dressed, grabs his things, scramble, done.
Yeah, we'll start grabbing clothes and throwing something on.
Kicking dirt on the fire.
At least the bottom half.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, all your clothes are dry. Whether you choose to put them on before sleep or after is fine. You're all able to dress and prepare yourself, but there's a couple things I need to know. Really three things. One, what are you doing about the campfire?
Kicking dirt on it.
Okay.
If it's not completely out by the time he's done, I will try to kick some more to at least cover most of the coals. So try to help him douse the fire or at least bury it. I'm also going to, while the rest of them are getting ready or prepping, I will move back. We were kind of under an overhang with the rocks, weren't we? Or up near the rocks, kind of out of the immediate wind.
You were out of the immediate wind. I think if memory serves correctly, you were probably covered by some trees nearby. You're not in direct line of sight, but...
Right. No, I'm just trying the landscape. Because I'm going to back up against that main rock that was kind of keeping the wind off of us. So it's at least gives a little bit more shadow. And I am not putting my shoes, or I'll kind of have my shoes kind of tied around something nearby so I can just grab them real quick. But I'm going to keep my shoes off and I'm going to crouch down and dig my hands and my feet kind of into the earth a bit and kind of keep watch.
Okay.
It's more just kind of grounding myself and starting to feel through the earth. Kind of starting to tap into that power.
Okay. Alara, what are you doing?
So Lysana's backed up against the rock.
Yeah, she seems to have gone into sort of a protective or watchful state, and you can see that she's digging her feet into the cold dirt, putting her hands on the rocks here, likely as a method to ground herself or prepare for what might come next.
It looks kind of familiar to something similar that I did in the cave with you when we were fighting that abomination that we found.
So what I'm going to do is I am going to, where the shadow cat is, I am going to climb.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Climb up a tree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Higher ground. Because I have my bow and arrow,
Sure.
so if we need to...
Okay. Yeah, you can climb up. I mean, give me a quick climb roll and we'll see how far you can get up the tree. Yeah. How's your climb?
My climb is 50, thank you very much.
Professional climber.
I am a professional climber. Ooh, I am not climbing jack shit. I got a 71 out of 50. Fall out of the tree.
Nope, you don't fall out of the tree. You climb up a little bit and you grab onto a branch to pull yourself up, and that branch snaps. And that is like taking a stalk of celery in the supermarket when the girl from Ipanema is playing, and you crack that thing. And everybody at the camp hears that. And you also fail to climb up the tree.
Obviously.
The cat looks at you like, you see its features get a little screwed up.
Softly, Alara can hear, shh.
Yeah, how'd I land? Did I land on my stomach,
On your
my butt?
100% on your butt.
No, at least I landed on my butt. Okay.
Vargas, are you preparing to break camp?
Well, I was, but apparently everybody wants to fight, so we're fighting. So I guess I will draw their attention by standing in the open.
I will just say this. Given your successful roll and your successful runic inspiration, you feel that you still have time to flee.
All right, everybody, let's go. Let's go. Come on. We don't have time for this.
Yep. I jump up, brush off the leaves or whatever that might be covering my bum and other parts of my body, and sheepishly follow Vargas.
Okay, Vargas, where are you going?
We're striking out. I think we're going to try to go in a different direction from where we actually want to go so that we can try to lead them away.
Okay, I like this idea. That's interesting. I find it fascinating that you would try to do this.
Alara's crack fall, and oof, kind of like, oh, well, there goes that. And then when Vargas says, all right, let's go, be like, okay. Pull the hands and feet out of the dirt, kind of shake them off, throw the shoes on real quick, and quietly follow.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask for a move quietly roll. Now, this is not a roll everyone has to make. You could elect, I think, a single person to help instruct you on where to move and how to get there. But my question is does anyone have move quietly?
I have 20% in it.
I have 10.
Okay, James. So you have an opportunity, of course, when you make this move quietly roll to potentially call for a runic inspiration. You could do that with a myriad of runes, depending upon which one you choose.
I actually am going to go one better.
Ooh,
and
okay.
I'm going to cast a spirit magic. I have something that may help us called a little spell called Silence.
Okay.
It's on page
Spirit.
260.
So silence, this costs a point. It is touch, temporal, and passive. A spell to suppress the noise created by movements of adventure, monster, or object. It thus suppresses the clank of plate armor while its wearer tries to hide in shadows. However, it does not stop deliberately created or inadvertently loud noises, such as someone casting a spell, issuing commands, or falling out of a tree. That's actually not in the text, but it's more of a joke for Alara.
Right.
It is a spirit magic spell, and so How many MP do you have?
I currently have...
Because you're going to have to cast it per person.
9.
Okay, so you're going to have to cast it 4 times.
Yep. And he does. All right. Hey, psst, gather around. He closes his eyes, looks at the sky, looks at the dirt, acts very solemn, and then in his most stoic voice says, Ermal, don't fuck us. And then casts silence.
You cast it. You expend the proper MP. What's your total MP again?
9.
Yes, this is a big chunk.
Yep.
Your spiritual energy. But you, one by one, with your hands and your mouth, hold steady, blow a different breeze over your compatriots. It does, to all of you, smell a little different, somewhat foul, perhaps acrid. And some of you get the direct and overpowering smell of alcohol, like perhaps Finn was drinking all night. It's just the way it seems to go. That said, what I'll say is for the expenditure of the spirit magic points and the time, you will all, for a period of time, automatically pass any move quietly roll, which is great.
With the last casting, Finn kind of collapses against a tree, slumps down a little bit. Ooh, that was... All right, we should go.
And you head off in an attempt to fool the Lunars into taking a different path. What I am going to do is make a track roll versus a successful move silently roll. Okay. You continue to move silently. Vargas, you're leading them in a different way in hopes of taking them from the path. You can clearly and distinctly hear the moment, not but minutes later, when they find the campsite. You can hear murmured voices from down below as you've taken a different path up Crag Radius. Not one that leads directly to the well, but one that will hopefully lead you away from the Lunars. Are you going to continue to move away?
Yeah, for a little while until we can find a place where maybe we can lose them.
Okay. What I'm going to say for your move quietly roll, Finn, is that the spell is going to hold for 3 rolls.
Okay. I don't believe Ermal is going to give us much time here. He's fickle, so we should hurry.
You hustle up a different path. Just because you're moving quietly does not mean that you're not having to traverse the mountain itself. And so I'll need climb rolls from each of you. For those of you who have not used Runic Inspiration, you could potentially use any number of runes to assist you with climbing, should you so choose.
I will.
Really? And what will you be using?
Well, as we come to areas where we really need to grab handholds and footholds and whatnot, I will carefully and with deliberate strength grasp onto each one, invoking Ernalda, invoking the earth and its strength and its sureness under my feet, under my hands, guiding my actions and allowing me to hold it within my grasp.
I like that. So go ahead and roll your earth rune and we'll see what you get.
That is oh no, that's 8. That is a 28 under 65 for the earth rune.
So definitely a success. So plus 20 to your climb roll.
That's an 11 under the now modified 60.
Oh, great. 11 under 60 for you is a special. And so now that we have that set, I'll go to Alara. How about that climb, Alara?
I'd like to use Runic Inspiration as well, shockingly. I would like to use my movement rune, which is
Interesting.
at 70.
Movement rune. Okay. So in what way will you be using the movement rune?
All right, so part of the movement rune is that to be strong with the movement rune, which I am, is to be changeable, energetic, rebellious, and ambitious. Such adventurers can adapt quickly to changing circumstances, but are also impulsive and reckless. So climbing stuff.
Okay. I love the idea of you shooting up the side of the mountain on like being a bursting volcano.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before she goes, I know I'm technically not next, but I was also going to use the movement rune, and I would love to look at Alara and go, race you up.
Oh, you know what? You know I'm about it.
I love that.
Like,
We'll leave that.
yeah.
That absolutely. You guys
Okay,
totally have
I'm
it.
also using the movement rune, so we'll use it together and race each other to the top.
Yes, so I am going to roll for my runic inspiration. I got 41 out of 70.
You are definitely inspired, so that is a successful roll. So you can add 20 to your climb.
Awesome. So that puts me at 70 right now for my climb. And I got a 21 out of 70.
Very good. You make a successful roll, and you rocket up the side of the mountain, feeling the churn of movement and also the slight competitiveness with Finn, which we'll get to in a second. Vargas.
I will not be using the movement rune.
Are you going to use Runic Inspiration?
Nope. 3 under 45.
Yep, special. 1 to 9. Okay. And Finn.
I got a 46 under 75 for my runic inspiration.
Okay, so plus 20.
And for my climb, I got a 5 under my climb of 65. 5 under 65.
So you and Alara are sort of neck and neck. And the air around your bodies it feels like swimming. It feels like being in the river and swimming. You swim through the air as you propel yourself up. Actually, every one of you is doing exceptionally well climbing this side, the mountain. The Shadow Cat, of course, is keeping up with you, Alara. It finds this whole calling on runes a little silly, but you can tell that it's doing what all cats do and that it's silently judging you.
Yeah.
Feeling judged.
Side note, not that it matters, but who wins the race to get to the top?
Oh, I don't know. Does a winner matter?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think that is my answer right there. And that is your answer is because a winner matters to Alara, she wins.
That's true. In fact, Finn might even just at the last second, knowing how important winning is to Alara, let her win.
You're letting me win. I win naturally, you asshole.
Totally let you win.
I think that she probably wins of her own accord, but that doesn't mean you can't tell her that you held up
That's true.
because you know that it will infuriate her.
Absolutely.
Although you have heard tales that being on the receiving end of an infuriated follower of Marangor might not be the best thing.
But I have never experienced those tales for myself, so they could be hearsay.
Okay. I'll make one more roll here. Your move up the side, this portion of the mountain goes flawlessly. And within another 5 to maybe 10 minutes, Vargast, you can see from your perch where you're at through a thicket and several evergreen trees, you can see the encampment you were at. And you can also see that there are 4 people down there. And they're still searching the campsite. You now have, just by climbing, you probably have a 25-minute lead. And so, provided you are careful, you can likely get back on the trail to the well and have duped this hunting party.
Perfect. Then that's what we shall do.
Okay. That is what you do.
One last thing before we leave this cliff top and there's the trees about. They're eventually going to track us up the side of the mountain. Finn's pretty sure of it. Are there any nearby bee or wasp hives that he could hit with a sling from a distance before they leave to leave them a nice buzzy present?
Nope.
Damn. Oh, well.
I did roll.
Well, I got you.
Not this time. About halfway to the well, you arrive at a very special place. And that place is the cloud line. You are so high up now in your travels that low-lying clouds, the ones that tuck in and call themselves home around Gragradius for an hour, maybe a day, now beginning to pass through them. This makes everything a little damp, a little colder. Visibility drops pretty quickly. It's like walking through a very special kind of fog.
This is what it feels like to be an eagle, guys. I mean, it's kind of special, right? Or maybe a goat. I'd make a great goat.
What I'd like is for you to tell me in your own words, in each one of you, what it's like to look down at the Vale from this high up. What are you looking for? What are you most interested in? Because this view is unlike any you've ever had. You know, you are now likely thousands of feet above the Vale.
Lysana it'll take a minute. Like, she has to stop and like close her, kind of close her eyes, but she doesn't want to close her eyes, but she tries to focus on the feeling of the rock underneath her feet, just to feel a bit grounded.
Mm.
And then she closes her eyes and takes a deep breath. And as she lets it out, she opens them and just allows her mind and her being to take in this, like, from left to right, the view, and feeling, it's almost like stretching out from her feet through the earth, the feeling of the wider world, the expansiveness of the world. For the first time, feeling like she is this small being in a much, much wider world than she ever let her mind consider it. The thoughts of her elders, her ancestors, the direction of, she looks off in the general direction of where her grandmother probably came to and did her ride with the Feathered Horse Queen, where her grandfather fell defending the royal family and Azrolia and just realizing that while the earth under her feet always feels so strong, and the Earth Mother holds her to her bosom through that, she can almost feel the embrace of Ernalda and Orlanth, the air and the earth together, and it is just almost overwhelming, inspiring, and just kind of fills her with that. While she loves home and hearth and all the things there, that she wishes to truly see the world for what it is, to travel along through the earth, all to see and experience all of it.
Yeah, it's definitely breathtaking for all of you in a lot of different ways. Interesting enough for you, Vargast, when you're looking around this space, this view, even with the visibility in some of the spaces hampered, you make out a couple of colonnades against the mountain. There's a portico here as well.
Do I know what those are?
You've never heard of what that something's up here. I mean, the well is still a ways off. Not necessarily up, but it's a ways off. But there's definitely something here.
I'm going to need to come back to this.
Alara and Finn, the both of you would probably notice Vargas paying attention to a side of this mountain.
Finn stops frowning at the valley below and turns back to Vargast. What's going on?
See that over there? Those ruins?
Yeah.
I've never heard of those before. I've never heard tell of them.
Well, you know what that means.
Oh, yeah.
Finn is already 3 steps towards the
No,
ruin.
not now. Not now.
Right now.
Not now.
Vargast, you are far, far too unimpulsive.
I understand. And I really want to go check it out, but we need to get to the well.
You know, it's funny you would say that, Vargas. You do really want to check it out.
I mean, I do. I really do. We have a
You
mission.
really do. I know, but that damned air rune is 90 plus. And you just can't help yourself.
I have an 80% air rune and a 70% water rune. I'm not even trying to resist.
I keep saying no, but my feet keep moving in that direction.
Right. Totally. So this sheer cliff sort of hides a shadowed entrance. The column portico juts out of the cliff over the door. The door that you eventually expose just with your eyes. 5 men high, 3 men wide. 5 men high.
Huh.
Finn kind of scratches the back of his head and looks up at the top of the door frame. I hear tell of dwarves that sometimes live in mountains. You think this belongs to one of them?
Somehow I doubt it.
Who could have made a door that tall?
Giant?
Vargas, just checking out the portico, you see that it's carved with entwining dragons and the dragon newt rune.
Well, that looks ominous.
Finn steps back over and waves to the ladies. Kind of gives them a come over here gesture.
What'd you find?
Oh, just a little thing. Come here.
You see a clear triangle with sort of the upper top of it being interdicted by a line that goes from left to right.
Is that? What did we stumble upon?
Vargast of the Mountain found it here.
Have we ever seen a rune like that?
Have you ever seen a dragon newt rune? I'd say yes. It's likely that you have seen a dragon newt rune. Probably not anyone you know wearing one, but clearly those of you who are a little closer to like the market or the inner ring probably would have heard tales of something, or maybe you might have seen a piece of decorative pottery or something maybe the redsmith might have made that might have had a stylized rune like that.
I mean, not that my opinion should sway the group or anything, but we really have to poke around in there. Just for a moment. I mean, we could use a breather after that fantastic climb up the side of the hill, which I almost won. Probably could have, but I was enjoying the view.
I don't think a few minutes would hurt.
Okay.
Okay.
Finn makes a grand gesture towards the doorway like a maitre d'.
I look to Alara.
Yeah. Is my friend the Shadow Cat still with me?
Yeah, he's here.
I've named him. He's sticking with me. His name is Arcat.
Arcat?
Mm-hmm.
Like ARCAT or
ARKAT.
KAT?
So it might be Arcot.
Arcot. I like that.
Arcot. Yes.
Arcot.
It's he's a god. Named after a god. One of the first heroes.
Ooh, fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That's cool.
I kind of look at, Arcot. I guess that's how it's pronounced. And, just hold my hand up and say, you stay here. We'll see if he listens. But
he sits down. You see his big sort of bushy tail whisk back and forth on the ground as the four of you very carefully move past this door. The temple, at least that's sure is what it looks like from all of the finery of the columns. It's warmer than you expect. It chases the chill from the mountain off your bones. The entranceway here is intricately carved. Very similar motif, intertwined dragons, sort of the sinuous and swirling kind, rather than the big, beefy, muscular winged ones that many of us might be thinking of. There are dragons of the sea, dragons beneath the mountains. There are dragons amongst the clouds, and even dragons winding their way through the stars overhead. The passage extends straight about 5 meters, and then you see it begin to open up. I wonder, are any of our Heraborn using torches, perhaps, as there are not any current lights in the room?
Well, I guess we're going to have to, aren't we?
Yep.
That's absolutely right.
So with a few torches, you realize that this room opens up quite a bit. There are 4 great pillars, each with a stone dragon coiling all the way up, that hold up the ceiling. There is a massive bronze sheathed door set in the opposite space from the entrance. Also, dragon carved. In the 4 corners of this room, you can hear steam whistling in, little vents in the floor. This is an instant indicator for you, Alara, that there are likely some hot springs somewhere beneath here. You can feel the goddess moving and shifting underneath the ground, feeling her blood churn through the space.
It makes me feel a little exhilarated.
Oh, good.
I don't know, almost turned on in a sense.
Certainly. In the very center of the room, there is an altar. It is carved from a massive piece of milky green stone, a stone color you've not seen before. At its 4 faces, there are 4 coiled dragons. At its corners, there are bronze statues of robed men kneeling in meditation. Hanging over this altar, 2 feet above its smooth, glassy surface, is a ball, just big enough to fit in the palm of your hand. It appears to be made of gold, and on each of the front and back hemispheres, you see the Dragon New rune.
Looks kind of side-eye at Varghast. Finn does. You know, Varghast, one of the things when I'm fishing, there's a couple of types of bait that ultimately are poisonous for the fish, but it doesn't matter because the fish is going to die anyway. In this case, this looks like poison bait.
Yeah, but what if it isn't?
Okay, you've won me over. Your logic is impeccable. Let's take it.
I mean, I don't know what it is. Does anyone else?
I've never seen anything like this. That green stone is unlike any rock that I have ever witnessed. It's almost as if it's made from Arnalda herself.
You know, I might regret this, but I'm going to start moving towards the sphere.
Okay. How close are you getting?
Honestly, I'm going to get close enough that I could touch it.
You should not be touching it.
Before he does, Storyteller Mike, can I do a Homeland lore roll? See if I've ever heard a story around any of the fires or any of the traders that have come through.
Sure. I'll give you a Homeland lore check, but it's not Haraborn based. This is more of a have I heard a tale told to me about something like this.
Okay.
Cult lore, perhaps? Arnaldan cult lore?
No, and Alden cult lore is not gonna fit the frame here.
So wait, I can make a Homeland lore?
Yeah, you can.
Homeland
You
lore.
can.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
36 under 40.
Okay, so you have not heard a story about this come through. You're fairly certain, though, that all the dragons probably pretend to a time where much earlier in an age where the empire of the Worm's friends was still present. So this was a long time ago.
Well, I haven't heard anything about anything like this, story or tale. If you want to use my fishing pole, you're more than welcome to.
I am barely listening. I am enthralled. I'm reaching out.
Okay. Are you going to touch the sphere?
I'm touching the sphere.
You grab the sphere. And that's where I'll call our episode to a close. And so thank you so much for joining us on this episode of 6 Seasons of Sartar, as played by the Old Ways podcast. We are greatly appreciating your listening ears, and we look forward to entertaining you again very soon. Thank you and good night.